Mr. Zucman, what should the EU do?
What would be most powerful is to have an EU-wide minimum tax on billionaires and centimillionaires in the European Union. As we showed in the note, the revenue potential from such a measure would be very large, and it would be, again, a very basic fairness measure, preventing, getting rid of the regressivity that we have today in our tax systems. And what's most important also beyond taxation is to reaffirm the need for investment, for more investment in the European Union, in education, in health, in infrastructure, and so on. We are hearing more and more this little music that says that, to build the warfare state, we have to trim the welfare state. And that would be a mistake of historic proportion. Because what the European Union needs today is not less investment, is more investment, is what is going to be key to increase its productivity.
Thank you very much. And then two last questions.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I just wanted to underline what our colleagues from the trade union said. We could observe from the mid-1970s on a rising profit share, which went hand in hand with a decrease in private investment. So lowering taxes for the ultra-rich or for corporations does not automatically lead to more investment because it creates a free lunch. It takes away the incentive to invest and to earn your profits, so to speak. And I would want to bring up one issue. I agree that we need to lower energy prices, that this is really a big shock to the European economy. But could we not use the tax toolbox also to respond to the US tariff threats in a way, because we might be vulnerable in the value chain when it comes to certain access to resources, critical minerals and so on. So we are vulnerable in the tax war, but we are still one of the largest internal markets. Apple wants to sell their iPhone in Germany or France, not on the Bahamas. So could we use the tax toolbox to react to these tariff threats, maybe to Mr. Zucman?
What's really important to understand is that tax competition and tax evasion are not laws of nature. They are not things that exist like stars in the sky. They are policy choices. So sometimes we choose to tolerate them or even to encourage them. And sometimes we make the opposite choices. So just a couple of illustrations. Number one is what happened with the automatic exchange of bank information. 15 years ago, there was a complete bank secrecy in offshore financial centers, made it very easy for wealthy individuals to hide assets. Multilateral exchange of bank information. It's much harder to hide assets in offshore centers. Second illustration is tax competition. I explained how one country alone could say, look, we are going to have a minimum tax on our billionaires, and if they move abroad, we will keep taxing them. But we could do more than that. I think what was said about the EU being a very large market and that being a source of strength is very important. And this is a source of strength that can be used to say, well, not only are we going to tax our own billionaires, but we could also tax billionaires, in the rest of the world, to the extent that some of their wealth derives from having access to the European market. Most of their wealth is owning shares in multinational companies that are very profitable because they sell things to European people. And so that gives a lot of power to the European Union to then say, well, look, if you are not taxed abroad, if you want to keep having access to our market, you will have to pay a little bit of tax here. So that's another way to tame tax competition. Very important to understand that these things are choices that we make, and there's a whole range of choices that we can make.